What you know about me? Seen it all, heard it all. Oh, what you know about me? I done it all, just want it all. Oh, what you know about me? I seen it all, heard it all. Oh, what you know about me? Oh, what you know about me? Oh, what you know about me?
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of More Than a Title. I'm your host as usual, Jared Thomas, Chief Revenue Officer at Outside the Box Digital. I know we're missing one right now. I'm missing my brother, my brethren, your favorite CEO's favorite CEO. My boy Chad is not able to make it today, but we're going to represent, bring the energy like we usually do. We have a special episode, special guest lined up for you guys. And before we introduce this young lady, let's just do a quick little, house cleaning items. But first, shout out to our subscribers, our listeners. Thank you to everybody that's subscribing and really rocking out with the podcast. We're growing and glowing every week because of you guys. And the response has been incredible. So thank you guys for keeping us on our toes. And we're going to keep on bringing you good content and bringing the energy. So appreciate you guys. And also shout out to our distribution partners, our exclusive partners, their live podcast network. So if you're looking for other Black content from Black creators, please download the app and support your favorite content creators. Shout out to Angel and the entire team over there. And let's get it rocking, man. This is an exciting episode for me because this is my sister right here. We met over about a year ago on LinkedIn, just organically. And come to find out she's from the Bronx. We end up linking up a few times, and we've really, established a really great relationship. So this young lady is a beast, right? So she's been in the industry for quite some time. She's worked at companies like UNO, Code and Theory, Publicis, A&B, Uncharted, and now is the VP of Growth at PocStock, which is basically the Getty images for Black content, right? For Black creators. So definitely want to give us a shout out to our special guest, Nathalie Heywood Smith. What's going on, Queen?
Hey,
what's going on?
I felt like I should say that because it was a great intro.
Thank you so much.
I gotta go back and look at myself because I might be more better than I thought.
I swear, everybody says that because it sounds different when you hear your accolades. Somebody say it to you, like, "Damn, I did that. I was at Publicis, and I was good.
I did do some stuff. I did
do that thing."
Yeah.
But it's an honor, sis. Thank you for taking time and thank you for pulling up on us, man. I really appreciate you.
Thank you for inviting me. It's been, it's been quite a journey. My little, at this point in my life, I figure that I just do dope shit that moves the needle and I have fun. And that's my tagline. And PocStock happens to come along with that. So it's nice to be here and talking about them and talking about you because you know how proud I am of you and the wonderful, wonderful things you've been doing out here and supporting people and pushing conversations and stuff. So it's great to be here with you.
Thanks again.
And we've had some kind of wild ass conversations ourselves, and now we're going to go off into the sunset. ATL,
we going in tomorrow for Revolt World. If you guys are in ATL, you're going to Revolt World. Make sure you hit up me and Nathalie. You guys want to get a coffee? You want to, see how we can see if there's any synergies in our business. We're gonna be out there. First of all, you're gonna see us because we're gonna make sure we're gonna be known out there. So we're gonna show our tails out there. That's what we're gonna do. But
I gotta go pack my cute outfits.
That's it.
Shorts and shit.
Yeah,
what's the temperature in Atlanta right now?
I know. I was just about to think the same thing. I'm going hoodie. I'm gonna be ready for anything. Any and everything.
I got only a small amount of bags. I hate checking luggage. Don't you hate checking luggage? I hate checking luggage.
I just hate the process of traveling. I just want to get there. Just snap it. Get me there, man. But it's gonna be a dope event. First of all, shout out to Revolt. Shout out to Datavia and the entire team. Can't wait to see you guys. Thanks for the love and support. But let's start from the top, sis. You're from the Bronx, right? Big Bronx in the building, big BX. So if you want to tell us about your upbringing, and then we could go shift into how you got into the industry.
Gotcha. So boogie down baby, Jamaican parents. So I really stick hard and fast to my Jamaican roots. Used to go down all the time, go back and forth, the whole thing. Big Jamaican old family. So a lot of funny in there, as many of you know. Made my way through Catholic school, ended up at Fordham University, came out, was going to be a lawyer, ended up in recruitment, then moved into working with creatives a lot. And next thing you know, I was doing my own thing. And a part of going out, so, there's a point in your life where you're like, do I stay with this big corporate thing or do I go out on my own because I know what I want to do and I got people that I love and people that support me. And sometimes you just take that daring step because you have to walk away from the corporation because it's killing your soul.
Yeah, but what was that moment for you though? Like, was there a specific moment when you knew? Because I feel like everybody knows that moment. It's like
that moment came. So the company I worked for at the time, it was called Update Creative, and they're pretty much non-existent right now because they've been bought and revised and water under the bridge with them. But what happened was, I'm sitting there. Up until that point, many of the ideas, even the business model they used, was kind of my creation, invention, out of pure innocence and stupidity. I was just rolling. Like, I gather information, I think about it, and I was like, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. And I'm going.
Yeah.
I sat in a meeting that said, this is where we need to go next. This is the next invention. Let's go this way. Let's move our business this way. And I was told, yeah, we want to take risks, but nothing happened. And then I was like, well, we need a proof of concept. And I'm like, well, this whole business is the proof of the concept that it would work. So why wouldn't we move forward? Why wouldn't we try it? It's a low cost try. We can incubate it in my team. We can put in a strategic markers that makes it easy for us to minimize risk.
Yeah.
Just things that were so easy to do. And they were really, really afraid. They were really afraid. So
wow.
I learned a big lesson there with founders. If you can't see the company beyond the number that you think it can grow to, it won't go past there. For founders out there, for people who are starting to find, for people who have their own businesses, get out of your own way.
Message.
Get out of your own way. They constantly do it every single time. And I worked with I like the startup vibe, so I've worked with quite a few since then, but I'm like, get out of your own way.
So what are some
forward? We have this meeting and they're like, you have to prove yourself. And I'm like, I've been proving myself for
years,
20 years. Like, prove myself what? And this was the kicker. I had a great team, and I would watch, people leave your team, they go on. And I watch a good chunk of my team go to our competition because my infrastructure wouldn't change.
Yeah.
That company sold itself for $450 million.
Ooh.
Damn! And I was sitting in a seat begging for 10. It was time to go. Because you know what? I could make as much money on my own by myself. I don't need to sit here and listen to somebody else.
Exactly. But you brought up a great point, right? Because sometimes founders get in their own way, right? So for any young professionals listening right now, how would you help them identify what a good leader looks like?
So if you're looking at yourself, you're looking for partners that empower you and you empower. That's the first, like that first group of people you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
It's like you're in grammar school. You got your tight little crew and everybody is good together and you work together. Then you get to middle school. Some of them are with you and some of them aren't. And that's okay because you're growing.
Yeah.
When you get to high school, it's another group.
Yeah.
You get to college, whole different team. It's much like that in business. And when you're starting out, you're going to have the people. There's going to be one or two people that travel the whole length with you. Like I have a friend that I've been friends with since I was 5. So you have one, you can have one in there, but everyone is with you for a certain amount of time. Let them be there, do what you have to do, and trust them. Understand who they are. People get really funky about trust. I'm going to step back for a second. And they go, I should trust them because they're my friend, or I trust them. But you trust them because you know who they are and you know how they'll come through for you.
Exactly.
Trust them for who they are. It's not a bad thing. And work with that. And be clear that like, hey, I know we can do this and we can do this together, whatever that is in your business choice. And then move on to the next thing, or ask them, can you make this journey?
Absolutely.
Communication, trust, transparency. Those are words that get knocked around a lot nowadays, but they really do mean something when you apply them.
Absolutely.
Really
and I would also add, in my experience, as far as identifying or, like good leadership or good teams to be on, like when you're in a town hall meeting with a CEO, if you get some FaceTime, right? Anything they say as far as like, hey, this is our goals, these are objectives moving forward for Q3, Q4, whatever the case may be, always ask the why. Always ask why we're doing something.
Very good.
Why are they giving that strategy? Why are these people? Why are we utilizing this hiring strategy? Why are we scaling in this particular moment? Are we going to IPO? Are we doing this? So just understand the why and what the objectives are of the leaders. And if you want to accelerate your career, try to solve problems.
Always. So, any reason that you start a business, I mean, people may think it's not what they're doing, but you're solving some kind of problem. Like, I want to be an artist. Well, I want to put it, the problem you're solving is putting out more beautiful visuals or more poignant pieces of work. If, I'm a lawyer, well, the problems I'm solving are other people's legal issues and helping them get through it. No matter what you're doing, you are solving some kind of problem. You just need to know what that is for yourself and then who you're working for. And does it match up? Is that a problem you want to solve or can solve?
Absolutely.
It's a combination of the two that's most fulfilling.
You ain't never lie.
I think I can solve it. I want to solve it, whichever one you want thing. So for me, like, if we go to PocStock, even like this is really a great moment in time. Because as much as we're feeling all the tension, and I'm going to use that word, as a euphemism because it's like anarchy in some instances. But think about it. Most of these people, law enforcement, there's statistics out there that say they get most of their impression of people outside of their communities from media. So you keep floating stereotypes in media, left and right. This is what the bad guy looks like. This is what the good guy looks like. This is what the smart guy looks like. So all you're feeding all day long is stereotypes. Guess what happens? They go out, they have a stereotype moment. Flip side, and what people really need to stick to is I, the marginalized person, am also looking at the stereo of you, the law enforcement official, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
What do I think you are? I think you're crooked. I think you're biased. I'm not safe with you. With that message being perpetuated, why would I trust you? So now you think you're just doing one thing, but you're actually setting people at odds with each other.
Absolutely.
Ripping it.
Taking them to school.
So when you come down to it, I have to look at a way to, I have children. I have 2 boys and a girl. I have a world that I made that choice to have them and I'm sending them out into the world. So what am I going to do? Sit back and not do something about it? Because they're going to come across somebody. One of them is going to get stopped for speeding or something. I'm sorry, they learned from their mother how to drive. It's So when they're interacting with them, it's got to be respect on respect. You know how it rolls. How it rolls.
It's not always that. Yeah, it's not always that.
That's how we met. Because my heart, I felt you on that one. But segue for a second. So coming back to the point, if I am going to do anything, I'm going to make sure that people of color are seen in a way that's positive, progressive, genuine to who we are, and PocStock is my vehicle.
Absolutely.
So it is my passion. I'm at the point in my life where I can do the stuff that I really, really want to do. I still have a lot of lessons to learn, and I'm excited about that. I'm on this journey of my life. So these are the things that matter and important to me, and I'm going to push that. Like, we need to see ourselves as better. And that's actually an important moment there too. We need to see ourselves.
Absolutely. But I would even add to that, we have to show people who we are. And that's what the importance of Black content is.
Yeah.
Right. Because we don't control the media, like you mentioned earlier. Right. So if they're controlling the media of how we're represented, what our stories are, right, we need to be telling our stories so there can be a change in it. I can't tell you how many times right now, like even right now doing a podcast, there's people who I'm not friends with. Like, we just don't like each other. Right. Like, we just never liked each other. We've known each other from the neighborhood. But I can go to the neighborhood right now. He's going to stop me like, yo, what's up, Jay? I'm proud of you, bro. You know what I mean? And that's the content changing the perception of the person. right? So now you might not want to chill and hang out with me, but now because you see the content, you see what I'm trying to do, and you see the message that I'm putting out there, you're like, man, he's not so bad. And that's kind of what we have to do for ourselves as Black creators and Black professionals, or that stereotype is going to live.
Exactly. I learned something from this wonderful woman. I went to Cannes this year for the first time, which was absolutely fabulous. And the amount of color represented, hands up. But she said something very poignant. She said, when I get to a table, I'll put my elbows out. And I was like, what? She says, yeah, because I got to make room for other people like me at the table. So if my elbows are out, that's how I save the seat. That's like you in the movie theater in the Bronx. You put your stuff right next to you. That's where your girl is sitting, your guy is sitting, whatever it is. Your bud's sitting. Put your elbows out.
Message. Them elbows out, y'all. But that's a big problem, though. And I'm glad you brought that up, sis. Right?
It is.
I forgot who said it. I forgot, but I remember I was watching something on, I think it was on Instagram or something like that, and actually it was Stephen A. Smith. He was on the Joe Budden podcast, and they were talking about Pat McAfee. So if you're not familiar with Pat McAfee, he's a guy on ESPN right now, got a $120 million deal. Yeah. And amidst of the layoffs that were happening at the Disney Corp, right? And so he was like, man, they were like, why, Stephen A., why weren't you mad? He was just basically explaining how they bought a media company. They bought him out. They bought up his services and stuff. And then he was saying, man, I could be doing that for myself. But the problem is, even though I know all these Black athletes, these Black entertainers and all these, some of them don't look out.
No.
Some of them don't look. I was like, yeah, I'm in a certain position. I'm in a certain space. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm seeing it now from what we're doing with the podcast, right? Like, imagine if a CEO of a Fortune 500 brand as a Black professional was to say, yo, Jared, I love what you guys do on the show. I'm going to pull up on you guys. And what that would do to help the next person, and it cost you nothing.
Cost you nothing. But what they do is they believe it costs them something.
Yes.
They believe in the fear that they've been taught. They believe that how they got there, everybody else is supposed to get there, because they don't understand when you look at the other, is the firm term we'll use. Yeah. They actually did it slightly different. It looks the same, but it's slightly different, because what they then did was talk to one and brought another one up. And then the other one brought one up and one up and one up. Because the ladder, for you to go up and down the ladder, you have to own the rings and you have to own the side pieces, because that's the only way you're going to get back up. Yeah. Because they're the ones that push you up and pull you down and push you up and pull you down. And what we don't realize is you need that ladder full of your own people. You need your trust circle, whatever you want to call it, your trust circle, your career circle, whatever you want to call it. You need that circle, and you need to make sure you litter them as much as you can in the numbers. Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to step back, because I haven't talked to enough people in the world. Some people say they look at their friends, and a little bit is like, well, they're not like me. I'm the only one who did this. Yeah, yep. You need to expand, because there's more trying to do it. They just are not taking the same path as you, but they're there. You have to look industry adjacent. If I did terminology, industry adjacent, look in another spot, look in another city, look in another country, whatever it is you need to do. But they're there. They are there. And they are not going to let you down if you give them a chance. Because that's an old hood rat thing. I always think an old colonial, that's colonialism. Yeah. That is colonialism way back. Absolutely. You think about how the best way to conquer is to divide and separate. Yeah. And you have to realize that it's still happening. Absolutely. It's over and over and over. And if you think that it hasn't, it's just changed, it's got a new face, it's really subtle. Yeah. But it is divide and conquer. So how do you work with that? You just kind of swing around to the left and push someone into a different spot, because you don't just need vertical, you need horizontal. Is that the right direction? Vertical. Yeah,
I think so, but it sounds wonderful. Message.
I love your little things. I got to get that on my phone so I can send those to people.
You got to have it on standby. But like you made a great point though. But it's like, as a Black professional, if I go up the corporate ladder, I've been in there 20, 25 years. It's not that it's just you're so guarded because of the sacrifice it took to get there. And
Yeah.
it's like, yo, once I'm there, I'm still playing the game, especially if I'm in corporate, right? There's still eyes on me because I'm the one at the top of the ladder and they're watching how I move and they see me with the elbows out. And is that limiting opportunity for anything else for myself, or my trajectory, right? And I think that's how people think. And then there's some like Detavia, who's the CEO of Revoke, who are just unapologetically Black. And it's like, I'm going to help my people. So those people I love, right? So it just depends on where you are in the space, right? And I just see a lot of senior Black leadership not really reaching down to help the next person. It's like, hey, I'm speaking over here. I got this accolade, show me love, show me love, show me love.
Build
What are
your
you
power
doing?
structure. The ones that are really build your power structure. Like when you put your elbows out, that's your power structure. Like don't get blindsided by the lights.
But do we really have the power? That's the $1 million question.
We do.
But do we understand that power? You know what I mean?
That's the thing. Understanding is a different thing. Understanding is a thing. Do we have it? Are there, am I naive? No. There is a mountain to climb.
Yeah.
There is an infrastructure that is hundreds and hundreds of years old. There is a way of thinking that is hundreds and, the millennial old. I'm not denying that the mountain is, Mount Fuji, Mount Himalayas, Everest, whatever it is.
There's a lot of bodies on the side.
But you eventually get to the top. And how do you get to the top? A step at a time. You can't think that you're going to walk up to the mountain and take the whole thing down in one step.
Yeah.
Step at a time. And we are doing it step at a time. And there's a lot of media, to the same point of PocStock, there's a lot of media that says we're not. The media is filled with reasons that Black people are not succeeding. They do not perpetuate the stories of why we are successes. They do not perpetuate the stories that show that we had a place just like everyone else did that was powerful and that was wealthy. And, when we're just finding out en masse about Tulsa, right? It was there.
Just now becoming really mainstream, where like most people know it.
Juneteenth, been there since 18, whatever it was, when they finally figured out the war was over, right? Been celebrating since then. They're there. But remember again, separation. Yeah. They keep separating. And it's now this time where we're starting to bring that together. And thank God, podcasts like this one and just internet and all of these tools we have to get information finally so that people who learn little things can start to circulate it. That's the foundation. That's the foundation that's starting to get us in it. More than a title is bringing how many people to the forefront and generating how much attention and saying to people, come on, we're here.
We are absolutely here. And I'm going to say this on a side note. I'm tired of the Juneteenth brand celebrations. That shit is so performative. I hate it. I've seen. I know you've seen some crazy ones. Remember the Walmart one with the
what was that? God bless them.
It was Walmart. It was like they had like the Kente cloth on the ice cream. Yeah, like come on.
Somebody was missing from the creative team on that one. Not sure where that happens. But you know what, too? I'm going to say this also. That's also, too, they're probably, because funny enough, Walmart is really quite diverse in some areas of their corporation. But we go back to that thing about not having enough people in the room, the fear of like, but this is my job. Let me keep safe. Let me just agree. I've seen too many. Ooh, it gets me pissed off. When you sit in a room with people and they all don't say anything. I'm going to say this. 1, open your mouth. 2, all of you who saw the same thing, get behind them. Don't let them go battle alone. I cannot stand that. And that's what defeats. That's what becomes the defeating thing. People who want to be allies don't stand up and say something. Nobody, on the, oh God, we saw that, but glad you said it. That's bullshit. I said it, stand by.
Stand 10 toes on it. But the problem
stand right there with me. You let me say it, and then I take the fall, and then you run away and hide in the corner. Fuck that. Oh,
Yeah.
was I supposed to say that?
No, you're keeping it real, and I love that. Keep it real. Keep it real.
I did a training a while back, and I'm like, do not let people stand up there and take the fall. Step up with them, because the person who had the balls to say it first, just get there and stand behind them. Like, yeah, I saw that too. Oh yeah, that's not an idea. Like, pile in. That's how change occurs. So when you ask, do we have the power? Yeah. What happens? Don't leave the person out there alone.
That's it. But once again, it's like, it depends on how invested you are in that specific idea or whatever it is. Because somebody will say something, and it's like, us as Black creators, right? If we straddle the fence, or we rock the boat slightly, or we say something that's kind of off norm, that goes on your file.
That mental file.
It goes on your mental file. That's like, oh damn, he's being disruptive, or he's doing that, or whatever the case may be. Or now you're not on track for that promotion you was looking for, right? But now you're about to have a kid come in the world, and now you're like, damn, do I shut up and do I get my promotion because I have a kid coming, or do I do what's right? And that's what Black professionals struggle with a lot in corporate.
Yeah.
Shout out to the ones that are real, that is like, man, like shout out to like Walt Gear, Andre Gray, a lot of the ones that are really like strong on their stance. But not everybody can do that. And it takes time to even get to that point, and knowing your value to even feel like you're comfortable to say that stance.
That does. And I this is what I'm going to say, because I get that that's a hard decision. And for all of those people who can't make it, or feel that they need to sit there, I get it. I understand. I'm not mad at you. I'm not.
Yeah.
I think you're going to have to choose. You're going to have to make a choice at some point in your life on what your values are and what you can stick to and what you can't. We're human beings. We're all humans. We've got our flaws. We've got our fatal flaws too. We've got, we want to be the heroes and special and all of those things, but we have to deal with who we are. So I get it. What I ask is try it once in a small place that won't be a big risk to you, to get what it feels like to do that, because that's how you own your power.
Absolutely.
Then you realize how your power can be used. I'm not asking you to break the bank. I'm not asking you to put your family at risk, but I'm asking you to take tiny steps, a tiny step that will empower you. Because much like when we were at the beginning and you said all those things, and I'm like, oh, I got to go look at my resume again. And, I tell people to go look at their resume because it gives them a check-in. Remember your value. Remember your value. And just take one step in some direction, because you do not want to come to the end of the road, that 5 years and be the guy that got laid off but never did anything. And then you're like looking for the next gig. Because you weren't nice enough, or you didn't make enough decisions and choices. So somewhere along the line, you got to take stock in yourself. And Absolutely. If you just take one step that's for you, that's what's important. That's your mental health. That's your growth. I mean, you got to do it for yourself. That's for your family.
That's it. No risk, no reward.
Once you stop, once you don't do that one thing for you, where does the rest of it go?
That's, oh man, I was quick enough. but that's such a real point, because I know for me, sis, like I think I may have told you this, like when early in my career, right, when I first got in the door and I first got my first salary sales position, I'm killing it. We're creating sales. I don't know how to dress. I don't know how to talk to people, but I'm doing a great job, right? We're number one in sales. And I had to cut my hair, right? They brought me upstairs, and I'm like, they literally was like, man, you're doing great. We love you, but it's your appearance, and basically telling me to cut my hair if I wanted to move up the ladder, right? So I had a choice whether either to say F off, or I can go get a tape up and come back and get my raise. In that particular moment, it was either that, go to the streets, or go back to Dallas barbecue smelling like ribs. And I wasn't doing any of those two. So I had to go back, cut my hair, even though it was BS. But once I actually, once I started knowing, getting my expertise up, I actually provided more value. And when I started being myself, when I just said F that? Like, why am I trying to be any? Why do I have a phone voice? Why do I have a, hey, how are you? I'm Jared. And why am I doing that? You know, like, why am I doing that to appease somebody who probably don't give a shit about me anyway? So what I started doing is just started being myself. I started showing up with the hat, the hoodie, started going online, telling my story, giving my expertise out. And that's when the doors opened up for me in the corporate world. But what happened was when I actually opened those doors, I still started to see discrepancies in how we were being treated versus, you know, other counterparts, right? So if I'm generating X amount of impressions, you're putting me on your social media channel. You're like, Jared is so great. He's cool. I'm helping you with recruiting, brand awareness, all that other stuff. But when it comes to, you know, hard decisions, who's going to be the first one to go, right? But you'll be happy to parade me around. And I'm like, why would I sit there and do that with any company if I'm generating X amount when I could do it for myself?
Yeah.
And that's the bet on yourself model. So like for any young professional, just understand where you are in your career, because there are going to be a point where you're going to have to make a decision. It's going to be a moral decision. It's going to be like, do I go back tomorrow? Do I say something that's going to bother the hell out you? But you frozen, sis? And that's real talk. So that's something that I experienced personally. You know, I think we're frozen a little bit. Sis, you still there?
I'm still here. I'm still here. Can you see me?
Shit. A little light internet.
My head is moving. Is my head moving now? I'm going.
Also, sis, too, you brought up something early too I wanted to do, but we got to a good conversation. What was the transition? You went from school to being a lawyer.
No. I didn't go to lawyer. I didn't become a lawyer. I wanted to become one, and I got close. I did the test. I was at the door, and what happened was I was supposed to go to the interviews and stuff like that, and I was just like, you know, I don't want to go back to school. It kind of finally clicked in because I had started working a little bit because I took a bit of a break, and I realized that I didn't want to sit in the classroom. And then for a brief period of time, I was working with Queens Family Court, doing child. It was this program that they had between child services and the court system. It was parents who were looking for custody. They would have supervised visitation. So I would be supervising the visitation. It was like a little part-timey kind of a thing, but it made me aware that by time people get there, all the intervention that should have been done was missed. So if I'm going to come along on the court system side, there wasn't really anything I could do as a lawyer.
Got it.
My opinion. Not that there are, let me get this straight. There's a lot of great attorneys out there doing amazing, amazing work. Yeah. But for the person that I am, I wanted to get ahead of it. So fast forward, I end up working actually for a staffing company, a staffing agency, and I just started getting people gigs, and I ended up starting my own division. And it was, this is what I tell people. This is one of my lines. So anyone who knows me has heard this before. My room, and I remember telling this to one of the VPs at MTV. It covers every single continent on this planet. When I look out on the vast number of people that work for me, and the only one that's not here is Antarctica, because the penguins don't like to work in New York City. Yep. And that was it. So you not being able to diversify behind the camera is not because they're not there.
It's because you don't want to.
Because you've created a format that says, let me just hire who I know. Let me get my buddy in. Yeah. Let me teach my buddy. I watch out for my buddy until my buddy gets his groove on. And then he goes and invites the next buddy in. And that's that point about the arms out. Yep. We go like, let the buddy in and then drop him. Like you stay tagged. Because that's how you create the chain link. You keep holding hands, and that's create the strength. So, and it was interesting because at the time, DEI wasn't a thing. When we had that conversation, she said, but it's going to be the big one in corporate America. It's like, I got, we had everyone we were getting roles for was so just organically diverse. Shout out to all the people who worked with me. So many of them, I think of now, I see now, we're still in touch. There are just women, men. For a staffing agency, I had like a 50-50 split male, female.
Crazy.
Very unusual because it's usually like an all female team with one or two guys in it, or, on the executive search time, a lot of times executive search side, a lot of times it's all male or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Kind of a thing. But shout out to all of there's so many names, but you guys know that I love you and we did great work together.
Yeah, so I want to get into the DEI because we actually had Dr. Janice Gossam on last week, right? And she's a DEI professional. She's actually a top LinkedIn voice on DEI, that subject, right? And we talked about how it's died down a bit. It's not dead, but it's certainly died down. We went from this hockey stick graph where it was, hey, when George Floyd passed away, it was no cooler time to be Black. There was opportunities, there were sponsorships, there was money being tossed around, there was ad campaigns, the whole nine, right? Then the economy kind of turned and shifted, right? And then once the dollar started to get tight, those initiatives I feel like kind of got swept under the rug for other priorities. So what are you seeing from your lens right now in terms of where we are with DEI?
So I do see a bit of that. Okay. I also see that money runs a lot of things. Where the dollars are going to go is going to be different. Yeah. Because they still want to tap into those markets that are BIPOC markets because they make money. And they've always made money. So what you're going to see is people have to stop being lazy a little bit. And this is like a broad stroke thing, but you need to, and people who are really pushing DEI initiatives and inclusion initiatives need to really still, hold the fire, hold the flame.
Yeah.
But the scale back, the thing that we see most is not hiring people.
Okay, that's the biggest issue from DEI is just the hiring and
the hiring. That's like where everybody focused and stuff. So now they have to figure out how to do it. Let me think of how to properly say this. And I don't mean not to be it's not an offensive thing about that. I just want to be clear that it's still there. The fire is still there. It damped down a little bit to what she said. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think though we need to push even harder because DEI is just not that I hired the Black guy, the Black woman. And because that's all anybody took it as and all anybody focused on, they missed all this other opportunity.
Yeah.
And it was moving so fast, they didn't kind of match up that dollar to market thing so that they know what they need to do.
Yeah.
Now, what that means is even when you walk through the office, like what kind of representation are you seeing in how, your marketing materials are putting out? Yes. Who's on the team? Who's writing the messaging? What are the targets? Like, it's always the demographics is like 18 to 25 year olds.
Yeah.
Like expand that out. It's 18 to 25 year olds in urban markets with this kind of level of education. Like how far do those demographics go out so that they can include the most amount of people? How targeted do you get your marketing? With so many avenues, we can really target now. So going back to that, it tapered off because it was really focused on hiring.
Yeah.
And it tapered off because people wanted to throw dollars at other organizations to do it. They didn't really want to incorporate it and make it part of their DNA. So they wanted to throw money at this organization because they're taking care of kids and training them, or this organization because they're helping, people get food or something like that. It's this picture that we need to be saved that really got perpetuated.
Yeah.
Versus, no, we don't need to be saved. We need to be acknowledged for the abilities that we have, given, not even given, because we'll earn our opportunities.
Absolutely.
We'll do work. You have to stop seeing us as less than.
That's the problem.
But you keep doing that. So why does a DEI get hit? DEI initiative get hit? Because you keep seeing us as less than.
It's not a priority. Not a priority. Revenue will always be a priority, but when it comes to other groups, right, there are other resources and other things that they have, right? Like, and most chances, like when I first came into corporate, my first sales job, I would say I was probably maybe like 10 Black people. 10 Black people at most in the company as a whole. The second job after that, I was one of the first Black employees at Con Lion. Then afterwards, I was the only Black employee at an agency. Then afterwards, I'm the only Black employee here. And then you just get used to it.
Yeah.
And you get just used to it. And that's a big problem for me. And I would love to, because I definitely would love to hear your take on this. There's a lot of people that were impacted by the DEI layoffs and things like that in the industry. What advice would you give to a Black professional right now that's looking for an opportunity?
I would say look for the tribes. Look for the tribes. And what I mean by that is, so like if you're in sales, there's a National Black Sales Network that you could be a part of. Like look for, the first place you go is look for where your particular specialty sits. So if I am a sales professional, like you were saying, where are the sales jobs? Who is in that circle? How do I create a circle? Who is in my network that I should talk to and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. Do you know what's going on? Be loud and proud about the fact that you're searching. Like, don't be afraid to let people know that you're looking.
Yeah.
And it's not that tactic is not a black or white thing. It's just a tactic that works.
Yeah.
Look at your network, look at your friends, look at what you're doing. Look at the job descriptions, read them, see what they're looking for. Where's your skill set match up? Do you need to rewrite your resume? Does it need some keywords so it's searched better? All of those things.
Yeah.
Look at the companies who are hiring. Those are just tactics that across the board, no matter what, they work.
Absolutely.
And I would tell them, like, don't be disheartened. I mean, don't be disheartened. It's easier said than done, but when you apply yourself on a regular basis, it comes through. And there's a lot of people out there saying, I'm looking for a job like 3 months, 6 months. It's happening across the board because it's taking longer to find one right now.
Yeah. It's hard.
You can do it. It's hard. It's hard. Because even for us looking for new business, it's on a B2B scale, it's tough. You're looking for new business. You're trying to get new clients. By the way, anybody needing stock photography, feel free. Anybody needing digital and social media help, OTB is here.
Yes. Gotta get my hand on. Thank you, sis.
But just keep pounding because it's the law of averages. As much as you do it is how it comes through. You keep doing it, it will come. And don't talk to everybody that's negative. I'm sorry. Don't talk to everybody that's negative. Talk to positive people.
Yeah, I don't talk to anybody who's negative. No, we will not do it. First, I'm very protective of my energy. First of all, I start to realize the value of that energy. Because that energy is what attracts the opportunities, right? And I'm going to allow you to down talk or downplay what I'm doing, or hey, Jerry, you shouldn't do that. Like if I had listened to my friends 3 years ago, I first went to this company. I was like, man, I don't want to send 1,000 emails out. I went to my bosses. I'm like, how are we generating net new revenue? Oh, it's through content on Twitter. It's through thought leadership stuff. So it's not from these whack ass emails you want me to send, right? So what I'm going to do is, because I think I have just as much personality as you, I'm going to go downstairs, pull out my phone, and I'm just going to bet on myself. And hopefully that my ICP sees my content and then want to interact. And then that relationship forms. And then we end up doing business. And that worked. So for anybody listening, like there's an opportunity for you right now. If it's hard to get an opportunity to get on LinkedIn, and like, first of all, and take those banners off. I'm tired of the open work for work banners. Take them shits off. Take them shits off. I hate it. It doesn't differentiate yourself. It looks desperate.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Put your contact information in the contact section. Contact info. There is so many people who don't put their email in there. if you want people to find you, if you want recruiters to find you, put your information in there.
That too.
That's
I
how
would say I did that. I got the spam. I got 40 sellers from India trying to get me on project management right now. so there's a downside to it. Shout out to y'all too, because I know y'all trying to sell me, but what the fuck? At least look at what I'm doing.
But I mean, just the email. Don't put your phone number then. Just put the email so people can find you. Because that's the other thing that's important. They can't find, like, you know, from the recruiter standpoint. Like if you go in LinkedIn and you are in LinkedIn Recruiter and no information is flooding out for you to contact the person, well, guess what? You keep going and maybe you send them a LinkedIn message, but a lot of times their LinkedIn message goes into spam. You got to know how the systems work too.
Yeah.
You know, and keep an eye on it. Like I've had people reach out to me like months later and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I missed this." And so you think that job is still open 6 months later?
Nope.
It's not.
But what you can do also, right? And this is from a sales. This isn't just from a recruiting perspective, right? So if I'm looking at somebody that I want to target to do a meeting with, I'm going to connect with that person. But instead of me sending a blanket elevator pitch in your DM soon as I connect with you, I'm going to look at your content and I'm going to engage with it, right? Yeah. I'm going to send a comment. I'm going to be like, yo, this is fire. Thank you for sharing this one. Oh, what do you think about this, right? Alleviate the stranger danger stuff, right? Be somebody that they know, right? Because now it's easier to make the ask. Or if they come to you, like my whole goal was to not make the ask. I wanted you to come to me because I felt like as a seller, my leverage goes up. It's like, hey, man, you want to call with me? You ask me for time. What you want to do? You know what I mean? Versus me trying to convince you that it's good business to work with me or whatever whatever the case may be. So just think about it, guys. Like content is a driver, and we need to tell our stories. You need to show your superpowers. Yeah. And that's how you end up creating opportunities quicker. Like,
absolutely. People are interested in people who are, think about who you are interested in. Like you're interested in people who are talking to you in your way or something unique about the story. One of the beautiful things is like imagery, like put up the photograph, put up like a visual so people can capture like a sense of your story, even if they only have a second to breeze through it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in the image business right now. So it's like, even though my hair is a little wacky, okay. So pay attention to the visuals.
Pay attention to, let me get your air horses. Come on.
Because look at me, you know what? It's like this whole post-COVID, like I like work from home and stuff like that, but having to stare at myself in a camera sometimes is just a little bit much.
I know it's a lot. You get used to it.
Always looking at what's the new freckle? What's the new wrinkle? Oh, look this.
So I got the whole gray. I'm trying to be like this one. Yeah, I got the grays coming.
I try to just keep the chin.
I'm trying, sis. But I'm not gonna. I embrace it. One thing I don't do, and I'm gonna be real with you. It's hard for me to listen back to podcasts. I can't watch myself back.
Yeah, okay. And this is so funny you said that. So like as I said, I've been lucky in my life to live based on my passions. I have, and it's not frivolous. It's not like just. It's not without purpose and stuff, but I've been able to like meet interesting people, find interesting work, doing interesting at each point along the journey. So the funny part about it is oh shit, I just forgot what I was gonna say. Wait, hold it. See, this is bad.
No, it happens.
No. Wait, what did you say first? Oh, I know what it is.
We talking about
I had to train salespeople in training and looking at yourself again. It's like, I am never going to look at this podcast. I know I'm not. I can't. But one of the things they were trying to tell us to do was to, when you do your pitch, to look in the mirror and say it to yourself. Oh my God. Talk about true fright. Through fear. Like I can't look in the mirror and pitch myself. I can do it all in my head. I can think about it. I can go like through the things, but don't ask me to look in a mirror.
I can't do it.
And do it. And so I'm the same place with you on that. And like
I gotta visualize it. Like I'll have a whole damn dream about the meeting. I've literally had that. Like, say it's a big deal. Now I've had I literally see the whole thing play out. me asking a question, I've seen that happen. I've had it happen a lot of times. I cannot look at myself in the mirror. I don't want to look at the podcast. People be like, yo, this is the best episode ever. I'm taking your word for it.
Accolades. I don't know what I did. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
That's it. I've had some crazy shit.
This is enough camera time for me. I can see this part of it. It's because you know what? It goes away. Like when you're looking at yourself, it goes away. So no, I'm never gonna look at this.
You know what you do too? Sis? If you don't like looking at shit, I've got like 30,000 browsers open. Sometimes I won't even be looking. Like I'll just go over here and just be like, I can't see myself right now. I gotta just come back and forth. Yeah.
I've learned. So here's my tip. I learned to line up the screen right underneath the camera. So whatever, I'm always looking this way. Mm-hmm. And so it looks like I'm always looking at the camera.
That makes sense too. See, you know what I mean?
I've actually mastered, especially for meetings, because otherwise, like, I'm just roving around. But if I leave the thing there and then whatever screens I switch to, like while I'm talking to people, I know that they'll think I'm looking at that.
Yeah, same. I don't even have to dual screen.
Yeah, because the other thing is that I like to be on camera for meetings. That's how I get like human contact.
Yeah, I think it's rude to be off camera in a meeting.
I mean, we do them sometimes, but
yeah, I got to get your energy, your body language. I got to see all of that, especially if I'm pitching you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I got to see how certain things hit you. If you I see
the only
that.
time I'm off camera is if I know everybody. Like we know everybody, then it's like a phone call. It's like, all right, this is a phone call versus a meeting. That's how I get straight in my head.
Internal meetings, right? But like, all right, I'm off camera. I don't want to look at you, John. Like it's cool. But speaking of like, and I know, damn, time is flying too, sis. So I would love to know about your experience with PocStock. Like, how did you get involved with PocStock? I know you're very passionate about it. So like, did you meet Steve personally? Did you guys have a
yes. Steve
shout out to Steve.
Shout out to Steve Jones, to Sean Brown. They're my anchors. So Steve and I met actually at Ad Color, and shout out to Ad Color and all the good work they do in advertising. Back in, I want to say it's like 2017 or something like that, 16. And we hit it off. And Steve had his own agency at that point, Websignia. Somewhere along the line, especially I think as we moved towards, we always stayed in touch, but then around, I guess, 2018, he decided, I'm tired, let me close it up and I'm gonna rest for a little while and figure out what I want to do next. So pushed it off. He's back up, he takes his break, and then he's like, I've always had this idea, and he starts PocStock. And next thing you know, I get a call. He's like about a year or two into it, and he's like, hey, I think I have a way for us to work together finally. And I was like, I'm all ears. Yeah. What are we gonna do? And he shows me, I'm like, I have to tell you, from day one talking to him, I lit up. So a stock photography platform, it speaks to all different types of people in all different types of lifestyles, all different POVs. And then we've been slowly getting more projects, people on the platform, work with that we've done, partners. We've just started really doing some great work with FCB, and I got to shout out to Brandon Cook, one of my favorite people in the world. Yeah, amazing. When you talk about allyship, him, his team, there's Vita Harris, there's Ayana, there's so many people, good people doing really good work behind the scenes. And many others, we're in the midst of some negotiations from other stuff. So I can't wait till those things get announced. But, they recognize the call to action. So when we go back to that question about DEI, there's still people highly, they get it. And they want to do it. And it's just going to be manifested differently. It's not going to be the same way. And yes, everyone is going to get work out of it. Everybody's going to be finding that there are different opportunities to make connections and community and figure out who your tribe is. And it's the point of PocStock is really to change the way people are seen in media. It is to reinvent that narrative. It is to give the opportunities equally and equalize them across the board. So all of us feel seen and heard and appreciated for what we are.
Absolutely.
And from there, that's progress. Because as you move forward, you need to widen. You need to widen the view, the lens. You need to widen the lens in order for things to grow.
It has to look like what we see.
Things.
Yeah.
And that's why, even though we're having this pushback, I think for businesses move slow, just as a but I think for businesses, they've retrenched, yes, but they haven't forgotten. They just haven't figured out what they're going to do next. It has to widen. It's their ROI. It's their new markets to bridge.
See, but that's a great
world.
That's a great point.
I'll tell you something really cool. The growth in this world, when you talk about individuals and markets, Africa's not going. The continent of Africa is going to outdo the rest.
Absolutely.
You better be damn straight. They're looking at those dollars and thinking long game and trying to figure that out. And it's not going to be a white face on it, because the thing that does happen on that continent, despite all the shit that has happened, they want to see themselves on the screen. And
absolutely.
They're very passionate about that. There's still a lot of other stuff going on, but it is not a white continent.
See, but with me, I'm thinking about, and I could imagine, like, because I'm going to my marketing hat, right? Because when I obviously I would want to see on any type of media somebody that represents myself, my kids, somebody that my kids could look at and say I could do it, whether in a Gap commercial, Target, whatever the case may be. But I also think about what is the ROI of that, right? Because there's an ROI for us, but for a business, is there a difference, or is there more money when you put a white actor versus a black actor? Like, are they tracking those metrics?
So
like, I'm not sure how that works. You know what I'm saying? Like, is there something, like, is there a mechanism for that? Like, what's up?
Well, you go back to the wealth gap too, though. So why would the white actor be more money? Is because you have a wealth gap. So if I have to spend my dollars, where am I going to spend them? I'm not really going to spend them on the. I will spend them more on the people that look like me than I will on the not. I still do it because that's when I've been brought up to think, and that's how I always look at stuff. Like, I have a weird thing. Like, I don't want to see war movies that include people of color. Like, I don't watch war movies. I don't watch slave movies. No.
Shout out to Dead Presidents. That's my favorite movie. I love Dead Presidents. But it's not a war movie. It's got like 15 minutes. It's
got a little bit of war to it. But like, I just feel like it's, why do I want to? I like Cinderella stories, so I'm always looking for the Black Cinderella story. I'm sorry, that's what I'm doing. I'm thinking about movies in particular, but I'm always looking for the Cinderella story, so that's what I go looking for.
I feel you.
Because it brings me joy. I don't want to see things that don't bring me joy. So I know I just went off on a tangent again. I'm sorry. So back to
you're good. Sis.
So back to how we look at people and see people is how we're going to change the world. We have to learn who each other are. Yeah. And if media is the number one way it's done, then media is the number one thing we need to attack. Gotcha. We cannot continue to let the stories perpetuate and the stereotypes perpetuate.
Absolutely.
We can't, always like use the stereotype and stamp it down, because the stereotype limits you and me.
Absolutely.
And that's not where we're going.
And we're more than a title. That's it. We more than what you think of us. So stop.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? Hold up. Wait, my damn. Like,
there you go.
I would assume, though, even though you guys came to the market relatively, not too long ago, right? Like a couple of years ago, there's consumer education onto the need of why these brands would need this, right? Whether it be their presentation from a sales perspective, whether it's their outgoing communication, whether it's things for the website and stuff like that. So how do you educate them on that? Because I would assume they're like, man, everything's been going good, how we have been using it, right? How we have been utilizing. Why should we spend an additional cost for something like PocStock?
Okay. So, it's not an additional cost, actually.
It's not.
It's
Okay, cool.
Like it's a part of the same budget.
Got you.
It's literally part of the same budget. So, and maybe that's some of the misinformation that goes out, that you have to spend all of this other money to be this, that, or this or that. You do have to, there are certain things you do have to assign a budget to. The DEI team needs a budget. They need a budget to push initiatives, because you're not yet infusing them into the DNA of the company. And in order for that to happen, they need a budget to work with, to create programming, to create initiatives, to create infrastructure, so that the people that are there already, who are doing a great job, like, they're doing great. Just give them the tools they need to do better, wider, and bigger. Right? So, for something like PocStock, it's dollars you're going to spend anyway. You're just going to spend them with a different vendor. They're dollars you're going to spend anyway, but you're going to spend them with more intention.
Makes sense.
The dollars you're spending anyway, but with purpose, intention, and this lens of being wider and broader, and thinking about the possibilities that you can do and the creativity that comes from that. There are so many numbers out there that says the more diverse the team, the more creative output, the more prosperous the entity.
But they don't hear it though. But they don't hear it though.
You ignore what's obvious. So in those conversations, when we're having them, it's the reminder of that. It's like a reminder of, like, what's your initiative? Because if you're talking to a procurement team that's not vested in anything other than, like, what's the dollars, that's like, well, you have an initiative. What's your initiative? You're going to spend those dollars anyway. What's the problem with spending them with PocStock?
Makes sense.
That's why they have supplier diversity teams now. Yep. Because those teams are trying to move the dollars around. It prevents monopolies. It prevents companies from getting locked in. It prevents companies from going belly up because they're only in one place. You reap so much reward as a business, and you get quality work. There's no lapse in the quality. Now, one of the things you do, I had to educate. I remember this because this was very early on. As we were going over this thing, and they were like, well, you need these insurances and this, and this. So I was like, first of all, the insurance you need is no way necessary for the size of project we're doing. The max that's needed on this project. Because this is what happens when you're with small businesses and minority businesses, and why it's kind of hard to get into large entities, is they have a structure of what they say the dollars are supposed to be. Like, this is the insurance, this is the legal ramifications, this is how we write the indemnification, what all those things are. On the flip side, you're a small business. You don't have all of those things necessarily, but you actually don't need them most of the time. So now, how do you talk to a legal team when you're a small business so they know how to match it up and make the dollar to dollar? Did that make sense?
Absolutely makes sense. Yep.
So, because I realize I'm saying it very broadly, but the point of it is large corporations also need to adapt to bringing in smaller entities, because I'm not IBM buying from Oracle.
Exactly.
All
That's
right?
why you said the suppliers and the NWMB companies, stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm a smaller entity, buying here to sell, and can do that job for you. I'm probably, because my overhead in general is lower, I'm probably a less expensive option for you.
Yeah.
You can all play in this. And yes, there are jobs that I can't take on as a smaller entity, whatever that, Yeah. But you leave it to, like, the big Hawkins.
Yeah, it's
There's
great.
a place for things.
You know, I'm curious because I'm on the site right now and I'm looking at a bunch of the photos, right?
Yeah.
How does the business of this work? Because I'm looking at our brother drink a green drink right now. I see a sister working out. Do these people in the images get paid at all? How does the business of that work?
Okay, so on that end, what happens is we have they're called contributors. They're photographers and videographers and illustrators who send us their work, and when those shoots were done, they navigated a contract and a model release and all of that.
Got it.
Before the images get to us. So what happens is once images are bought off of this site, there's a percentage that goes back to the contributor.
Oh,
so
dope.
It works like a regular stock platform.
Oh, beautiful. Because I was always curious. I'm like, oh, shit, I'm about to send you some pictures, sis. Put me up on. I want to get my lip on. I'm trying to get my royalty on.
Royalty, exactly. You will, so and to that point, it is a much like anything. When you did a shoot, if there's the model that's in it, you need a model release. So remember that you need permission from the person that's in the photograph to put it up on the site. Those are the things that are important. So when you do this professionally, there are model releases, location releases that you would have gotten when you did the shoot initially. So, and you can go back and get those things if you know who you worked with and you didn't get it the first time. It's not like, I don't know if you've ever been on the street and somebody comes up to you and says, "Can I take a picture of you?" And then they have you sign something and they give you $1.
No, I've never had to. Shit,
Oh,
I'm outside. Come on, somebody give me $1, take a picture, do something. Shit, I'm outside.
I've had that. Okay, so never mind. I've had that, but so
I'm outside. Ain't nobody can be shit.
Yeah, it's like, or when you go someplace, like you go to an event and you say you're going to be, they give you that release that says you're going to be photographed and it might be used.
Yeah.
It's stuff like that are used for those model releases.
So, but is the royalty based if it's like a one-time fee royalty, or let's say for instance, right? Like I'm a part of PocStock, right? Let's say McDonald's a client. McDonald's puts me on this digital campaign that goes viral. Is it like music royalties where I get it based off the performance?
Yeah. Yes. So what happens is when they're the way things are purchased determines how you're going to get your percentage. So if they're doing it like a one-shot deal, then it's a one-shot deal. If it's going up on a large ad, it's a different thing. If it's just an internal presentation, it's a different thing. So there are different models in there.
Got you. I'm trying to get paid in perpetuity. I'm trying to get paid.
We all are.
That's it, sis. So if anybody's listening, if you guys, that's another stream of revenue that you guys be looking at. Your models, things like that. You contact somebody like PocStock or a company like PocStock, have your images be used, your likeliness used, and get paid for it.
Yeah. And
message.
We've been growing. So when I started working with them maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, we probably had like 40,000 assets, and we're up to over 180, I think, right now.
Wow.
So it's been a good growth. The real deal is you want to get up to that millions of dollars, but million assets. So we are always looking for people who, because there's an underlying thing of like, if we're able to give them a revenue stream, that photographer a revenue stream, then there's also the opportunity for that person to continue in the industry. Because now we get to that thing about there's no Black talent, there's no Latin talent, there's no Asian, whatever you want to say, but they're there. They just can't get money, so they go do something else. But if we can create a way for people to make revenue, then they stay.
Absolutely. And then your portfolio gets visible.
The portfolio gets visible. We grow. It changes so many things. There's such an amazing ripple effect.
I'm actually
We're a small cog in the wheel. So, definitely look at the site.
I'm actually supposed to be linking up when we get down there to the A. We're supposed to be linking up with a photographer for dinner or something like that. So I'm definitely going to be sending some your way.
Oh,
I promise you. So we're definitely doing that. And I'm curious too, sis, because I ask everybody this, right? And then there's two questions that I usually ask all the guests, right? So one would be, what was one of the biggest thing, or what was one of the biggest lessons you've learned throughout your career that you'd want to give back to a younger professional right now? What's one lesson that you'd want them to hang their hat on? Like, did you went through door number 1? You was like, God damn, that's hot. And like, what advice would you give to other professionals?
So this one came kind of mid-career for me.
Mm-hmm.
So there's two things I'm going to say. One, build your trust circle, because you need people to lean on, and you need people to that's going to encourage you through the worst of times and through the best of times.
Message.
Always have your trust circle is key, and they can be made up of people who are actually in your specialty adjacent, just make you feel good. You need people that you can lean on that will be truthful, honest, and supportive.
Mm.
The second thing was very interesting. So mid-career, I had you always need a coach or a trainer. So part of that circle is somebody who's like your coach, somebody you go to and give you advice. But this person said, you're gonna have people come up to you, and she said they're gonna sit down, they're gonna have a monkey on their back. And that monkey is gonna jump off their back and destroy your desk, spit on you, rip your clothes up, rip your hair, pull on your hair, do all kinds of stuff. Only thing you have to make sure is when they leave you, they take their monkey with them. And why that was so important, it's like people have all their shit that they want to throw at you. Don't take it on. It's not your shit. It's not your shit, because you take it on and then you go act out of it and then you fuck yourself up.
That's real.
That monkey is not yours. Make sure they leave with it.
That's real. That deserves
Message.
Damn! That deserves both. God damn. Since you're potting now, sis. You're potting. And then also, what would be what's one of the coolest things that's happened in your career that you was like, oh, I can't believe I'm here in this moment?
Oh wow. So I think that there's a couple of them. So honestly, so my vanity side, honestly, was at a black tie after party. I was at a black tie event after party, and I'm standing there with Don Lemon, and we are just having the funniest conversation about people in the room. I have to, because it was just surreal in a way of, why am I standing here? Like, we're all best bud friends having this crazy conversation. And it was just, it was wonderful. And that's when you asked the question that came to mind. So I'm going to say, like, wow, I'm standing around here with celebrities just chit-chatting. And there's been a few, but he was the first one that had ever happened to it. Shout out to Wilson Cruz. I absolutely adore him as well. He is so phenomenal. And we've had very funny moments because I've come across him a couple of times. So the second thing I think, and this is a professional thing, and about knowing your value and remembering what you contribute and keeping track of what you contribute. The company I was working for had gone through a sale.
Yep.
And what happened from that, and this is like how I sort of knew I'm like, I'm good, is that I was included in this sale, contracted, and I was getting a huge payout that was significant because of that sale. And I want to tell anybody, when people say no, give you numbers, just ask them, what else can we do? I'm sure there must be more. Because there was, and I was excited and happy about that.
Let's get, wait. I will also apply that to recruiting, right? Whatever number it is that you're thinking you want for your base salary, always go 20 or 30 above that. Yeah.
Always ask for, is there more? Always just ask, is there more? Don't settle for whatever is.
There's always something else.
Ask what the framework is. And sometimes, well, we don't have a dollar amount, but we can give you this, we can give you this, we can give you this. Just ask, like, what else can we do?
Don't be
What
afraid
else
to
is
make
a
the
what
ass.
else is a possibility in it?
Yep. And then I'm actually gonna give you mine, sis. One of the crazy stories that I've had, right? And matter of fact, since we're going to Revolt World, I'm gonna shout him out, right? So it was about 3 years ago on Rankable, right? So we had just started getting CEOs. We transitioned from an SEO platform because that's when the recession happened. I mean, not the recession, the damn COVID happened. COVID happened. So I'm like, oh shit, my pipeline went from 800,000 to 0 to like, Jared, I don't know if I'm have a job next week. Like, what's going on? What's popping off? You remember that? I'm like, oh, what am I gonna do? I'm like, I'm getting a little traction on LinkedIn. Boss man, let's just start a podcast. Let's get people that we'd want to sell to on the show. Let's get them talking about themselves. Let's build the relationship, and then hopefully they'll throw us a bone on the back end, right? So we started doing that, but the SEO stuff was cool to me, but it's not what I'm passionate about, right? Because we'll sit there and talk about SEO. The next thing you know, we're talking about some crazy story, and that's the shit that I love. And I started reaching out to CEOs. I reach out. I'm on the couch, on the same couch I'm sitting on right now with my girlfriend at the time, and I see Datavio come up. He's the CFO of Revolt. I'm like, holy shit, is a black man. He's a C-level of Revolt. He's Diddy's man's. I need to be able to holler at him. Yo, baby, be right back. Went in the room, created a 30, 40-second video, right? And it was like, yo, brother, I'm from the Bronx. I got 2 kids, man. I'm doing this little podcast thing. I'm an SEO agency. Like, I don't want to sell you. I want to become somebody like you. And in order for me to get there, I want to learn from you. So would you mind coming on the show, giving us some lessons? 8 hours later, he shoots me a message back. King, I would love to. Shoot me some dates. Long story short, 2 months later, we're booked. What are the odds on this very day that we have the interview, he gets promoted to CEO? On the day we have it, I'm like, oh, yes. I'm on LinkedIn. I see the notice on Ad Agent, all those publications and Ad Week and all that. I'm like, what? He's supposed to come to the show, and I'm happy for him. And at the same time, I'm nervous. I'm like, he's not going to show up. That's it. We lost him. There's no way in hell on the first day of him being the CEO of Revolt that he's going to come onto my little SEO show and take an hour out of his day. The brother came 15 minutes early. 15 minutes early, so I would have missed it, brother, on the most important day of his career. So I want to say shout out to my brother Datavio, and that's a big reason why I'm coming down and support you, brother, because I know it's a big moment for you, and I'm not going to miss it, bro. And I appreciate you just being somebody just to say, man, and it's possible, because what it made it look for me, it was like, man, if he's willing to say yes, who else is willing to say yes? And that changed, it changed the way I thought. It changed my mindset. It made me just want to keep reaching, shooting for the stars, landing on the clouds. So shout out to that brother. And that was one of those mama. They were like, Mom, I told everybody on the block, Mama, Revolt, I'm gonna be on TV one day. You know what I'm saying? And it was crazy. So shout out to him. And that was one of my moments. And I'm trying to think. I also had another good question for you too, sis. I was on the tip of my tongue just now. It was on the tip of my tongue. Then there it goes. So you've done and accomplished a lot of things, sis. What does the mountaintop look like for you in your career?
Ooh. So the last thing I really want to, like, what the mountain is going to physically look like is I'm going to be on the cover of Fortune magazine.
We're going to throw air horns and throw that in there. You get 2 for that.
Yeah, we got this smoky black kind of blue background. And I'm just going to be sitting there, and it's going to look like, some, I don't know. It's kind of like the smart look, the clever, like sexy, like, okay, that could be sexy at all, but you know what I mean? That kind of like power. It's going to look like power. So
who right now do you think, what black woman?
PocStock. I think I'm going to do that with PocStock.
You're going to do it, sis. But I'm curious right now, who is somebody that's doing it right now in your eyes that has that same image, just a black woman? Who, like, you know what I mean, that you see her and you're like so inspired?
So I actually one of, and I think she would be in tears when she hears this, Bozma.
Yeah, I thought she was gonna say Bozma. Yeah,
she is. We go way back. I love that woman to pieces. I see her every so often. She's one of them. She's one of the people that I think of that is just doing it. And there's a few others. I am lucky. So someone who's really behind the scenes and probably will hit me when I say this. There's a woman, Audrey Steele, who's an EVP at Fox. Another powerhouse, another incredible, amazing black woman in business. A lot of, what I will say this too, I noticed there are a lot of women who kind of sit in the background of it all. but they're moving the needle. They're moving the needle. And doing such amazing work. Tiffany Warren, which a lot of people know from Ad Color, has really built an amazing platform to honor talent, talented people and creative. There are silent people like Wita Duncan. She has a non-for-profit out there that is it's called the Duncan Tree Foundation, devoted to, on one hand, medical missions, and she's done like 200 across the world for Philippines, Jamaica, Trinidad, just getting scoliosis surgery. She's gotten amazing people from the New York area, from Sloan, from Cornell, just to go down there and voluntarily perform these medical missions to change the lives of youth.
Wow. That's dope.
Into a space where, COVID kind of kills medical missions, but moving now into a space where there is a model around getting mentorship into New York City schools.
Yeah.
That she's working on. So many people I think of that doing amazing stuff. I could sit here.
Yeah. I'm not that's something I definitely want to get into. I want to start going back to the schools. I want to go to high schools, and I want them to see the hat, the hoodie, I'm from the street, like, and just want to I feel like I could connect with them on a different level. I've got my 50-year-old sitting right now. He didn't have school today, so he's sitting there with me, and everything I do with the business, this is what I do. This is why it's important and things like that. But I do want to say before we continue, shout out to Bazuma, shout out to Tiffany, shout out to all the ladies you named. I need y'all on the show, y'all. If y'all want to come by and tell your story, Bazuma, I need you. Ad Color, what's up? Tiffany, I just had a do on the show. What's up? What's up? What's up? We here, baby. We here. We out here doing it. But shout out to all those queens for real.
I think of like Monique Nelson too. CEO, Uniworld, an amazing woman. When I think of the list of Black women, I could sit here and go for a while. And so, those guys, they just have some, notability, and I just, I think of the scientists. I even think of my niece, who is right now director of she's an OBGYN, so she's down in Atlanta. So maybe we'll see her. But she's the director of a program for women at Marietta Hospital, and has been very involved in getting services to underserved women in Georgia and the Atlanta area who don't have means or don't have access. So her name is Zoe Julian. I can go on for a while, and it just, I'm hesitant because I will well up and start tearing up and crying all over your show, which it'll ruin my eyeliner. So we can't do that because I'm not into like black lines. But you know what? I'm going to say this. Look to your left, look to your right. There are just amazing people around you, and acknowledge them for the stuff that they do and push them forward, and maybe be part of that trust circle that really uplifts them.
That's it. And that's exactly why we wanted to create this. For that.
Yeah.
Because I looked left and looked right. When I was 21 years old, sis, I didn't have anybody. It was nobody. You see the one brother or sister in the conference, and we're all the way over there. We give you a head nod. We know we together, but we won't see. We won't this. We're trying not to, congregate and all that. And now it's just like, man, I just want to know who my people are. I want to know what you got there. How did you get to this role as the CEO of XYZ? Bazuma, how did you get to the CMO of Netflix? What are some of the politics that you had to deal with, and how did you keep your game face on and play the game at that high of a level? Like, I want to know all of that stuff, because those are things we need to know if we're going to beat. Well, shout out to Dr. Teresa on. She said, for us to beat the big boss, and the big boss is our career. It's nobody else. It's just our career. But we're every year, and it's like the video games. Like we're learning, we're up leveling our skills, we're going through hoops and loops. So eventually we could beat that big boss. Yeah, and that's what all this information's for.
Yeah, and you have to think of people at different levels. Like I think of, there's a VP of strategy at Hero Collective, Sky Downing, someone that just does amazing work and needs to be perpetuated and lauded. We need to keep our eyes on the people beside us and continue to push them. I mean,
No.
You know, you have my heart, Jared. You know you have my heart. And it's like, you know, even our interaction initially, just the way we came about it on LinkedIn, just because you shared something that was going on, and I was moved by that, and and had to say something.
And we're going back to the scene. We're going back to the scene. Going back to Atlanta. They stopped my ass and got me. But damn it, but it's all love. I love Atlanta, man. I love the vibes in Atlanta. And sis, I want to say this. I've got nothing but love and respect for you. You know, I love you. You know, it's always love. I'm glad to call you a friend, big sis, all the above. I know you're going to do amazing things at PocStock. Steve, you got a real one with you. So you guys are going to explode, and I know that for a fact. But I just want to say I thank you, and I appreciate everything about you, sis. And we're going to turn up in Revolt World, you know?
Yes, we are. I arrive tomorrow evening. I'll call you when I land.
I'll be there, sis. Just let me know.
Near the venue, so I wasn't going in. Downtown Atlanta traffic has to be the worst thing I've ever encountered in my life.
It's
so
crazy. It's crazy. Wait. I didn't even look at where the venue is, and I'm just floating with it. I just can't wait to get down there and see our people and see what they do. And I know there's gonna be a lot of brands down there too. So brands, PocStock, OTB Digital, we're coming to shake hands, kiss babies. We coming in to get a deal, baby. So we're gonna make it happen.
Yes, gotta walk away with. Got to pay for my trip. Damn it.
That's it. We're gonna make it happen. We're gonna make it happen, sis. But you know, I love you, baby. You know, you always have a role here. If you ever want to come back on the show, if you want to promote anything, this is your platform just as much as it's mine, sis.
Thank you. And thank you for having me. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for being my friend. And
you know, like I said with my cousin and all my people, I love you for free. That's it. Love you for free, y'all. And you know, you know that, sis. And so thank you for all the listeners and subscribers, man. Thank you for this. Another great episode, man. This was a great conversation. We're going to see you guys next week, September 28th. We got the former WBO champ, middleweight champ, Peter Quillen, coming to the show. So, you know, if you're into boxing, he beat Winky right back in the day. He was the first boxer in the Barclays. He's the first boxing event in the Barclays when it opened. So he's got a bunch of stories. He's from New York. He's from Brooklyn. We're going to have him on the show. We're going to talk shit. We're going to give game. And we'll see you guys next week, man. You ain't another episode more than the title, baby.
What you know about me?